Hey Hugs, just a reminder before you get into the show that we have merchandise, yes, and you can find it on our Ugly Truth website. There's a little tab, you can click on it, and then you can peruse to see all of our styles. You can grab a mug or a sticker. We have hoodies and t-shirts, pretty much anything you would want to show your pride for being an Ugly Truth listener. Thank you so much for supporting us. Enjoy the show. Welcome to The Ugly Truth. This is episode 536. Ugh. I can't believe we're already in August. When does your son start school?
August 12th.
Get the fuck out of here
Unless it changes.
It's not going to.
How do you know?
I think they're going to send them all to school and say, everyone wear your mask, go to school, get out of here!
Yesterday they declared a new county ordinance, so we're digressing.
It's just, the thing is that it is what it is.
It's the variant.
I've kind of come to peace with the fact that it's going to go back and forth. Like, this is not something that we're just going to get a vaccine. First of all, vaccine's not a cure. It's a preventative measure. That's all it is. Just like the flu shot, just like all the other things. Are we going to need a booster? Probably.
Yeah.
Do we need to wear a mask? Yeah. We're going to have to. And do they work? A little bit.
Well, only 50% of our county is vaccinated.
You know what? Can't even deal with it. I can't. But
and little kids still can't get vaccinated, so it's a conundrum for sure.
Yes. So with that being said, I hope they go back to school. They need it. They need it so badly. They have to go.
I want them to go too. I can't lie and say that I don't have some anxiety about it.
Of
just
course.
Because my son had COVID last year and it was frightening.
Yeah, for sure.
But I agree. He wants to go back. He's super excited.
There's got to be some cool masks that they can wear, right?
Oh, he has a crap load of masks.
But
there's 26 children in a room and none of them are vaccinated. And who knows if their parents are vaccinated.
I know.
If we do the math, we can assume that half of them are and the other half aren't.
I just think it'll be kind of like the routine will be, we'll walk in, everybody will wash, just like in preschool. Yeah. Everybody comes in, they wash their hands.
Right.
They sanitize everything. They sanitize, they keep their things in a little locker or whatever.
Yeah.
They sit down. Everything stays, as sterile as possible. You wear your little mask. And then, go outside and run like a crazy person and then start the whole process over again.
I hope so.
I really think that will be good. And I do think that they will spread the desks out. I think it'll be,
I think they'll do the best they can.
Yeah.
I think schools have a really big responsibility.
They do.
Now.
They do. And they aren't paid enough.
Right. They're definitely not paid enough. And especially the little kids. They're the ones that are going to struggle the most because they can't get vaccinated.
I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, we watched this show on the History Channel called Homestead Rescue.
Oh, God, you guys love those shows.
And it's about the Rainey family, and they live in Alaska, and they're homesteaders, and they're very successful because they're very skilled. So they go all over the country, our country, they go all over America, and they help other struggling homesteads. And they give them skills, they rebuild things, they help them, and these people are like in dire need. So they were in Hawaii. There's a lot of homesteaders in Hawaii, which I did not know.
People go there to live off the grid.
Yeah, so this couple came to Kauai, and they were living off the grid. It looks like a third world country where they live. It's so muddy and dirty, and the shack that they live in, they had shacks all over their property.
I have a hard time watching those shows.
It's difficult, and what makes it really hard for me is they had kids, and the wife was 6 months pregnant. So I'm watching this, and they finally decided they needed help because they're like, we have to bring this baby into a clean environment. And I verbally go, what about the other two?
Right?
They've been living in squalor for 3 years. Like, what is going on? And so, anyway.
It's like those hoarding shows when they have kids.
Sometimes.
I'm like, this little child, this adorable little teenager's climbing over piles of dog shit.
To get to their clean room.
And the room's not even clean. It's disgusting. He's like, I didn't even realize, we lived like this until I was 12, and I had a friend over, and they were like, oh my God.
You can't live like this. You can't have trails in your house.
Oh my God.
You have game trails in your own house. Anyway, so the reason that I bring it up in regard to the Sasha thing is that I was watching it. We were watching the new episode last night, and it was like a 2-hour episode, and they had to literally renovate this entire thing just so it was livable.
Right.
And so they did the best they could with the time they had, and they created some things so that they would no longer be living in mud. They had so much mud everywhere, and so they fixed all that. So I'm watching it, and I'm uncomfortable watching it. The whole time I'm uncomfortable. And at the end, they had this stage, and all the little kids are up there dancing around, and they're up to their knees. Their bodies are covered in mud because they're living in the middle of Kauai where there's red mud everywhere. And so they're just having
rains every freaking day.
Every day at 4:00.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching it, and I turn to Daryl, I go, I finally realized why I'm struggling to watch this show anymore when they go and help other homesteaders. Because when they're on their own homestead, it's immaculate.
It's perfect, yeah.
It's clean, everything is where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Piles of garbage everywhere,
Right.
they know what they're doing. They've
It's
been
like
doing
that
it forever.
show Alone. They build their little abode, and it's perfect. Yeah.
Right. And so I'm like, so when they go to other homesteads where people are struggling, it's a big deal. It's hard for me to watch. And I go, but I realized I'm watching this, and this is why I hate camping. I watch this and I feel like I feel like I'm on my way to a camping trip. I hate it so much.
God, I do too.
It's the dirt. It's the disarray.
You can never get clean and organized enough.
It's not enough for me, and I'm like in my tent. The last time I went camping, it's like everything has its place. Everything is neatly piled.
Right.
I can't. It's so difficult for me to let loose camping. I hate it.
Oh, I hate it.
And
too.
so I said,
hate it.
and I'm watching this homesteading show, and I'm like, I can't with the mud. I can't with the dirt. With the piles of garbage that they won't throw away.
Yeah,
like,
what's up with that? You don't have to be a pig.
Watching their chickens in mud, I'm like, I can't with it. I can't. And I'm like, and these people come in, they have 7 days to try to tell them you can't live in squalor if you want to be a homesteader.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out how they get away with it. But I mean, it's surprising. I have a lot of friends who are CPS social workers. And they're just like, people assume that when you walk into filth and pigginess, that we're just going to be like, oh, you can't have these kids, we're taking them. It's not like that.
No.
You can't.
No.
Just take their kids.
Everybody's level of cleanliness is different.
Exactly, and there's a lot of things you have to do.
That's true.
And so they have to see this day after day, and there's not a whole hell of a lot they can do about it. I'm like, I couldn't do it.
It would be hard.
I could not do it.
I'd be like, here's some Dawn liquid soap. Get going. So anyway, I'm watching it, and I said, this is really a moment of clarity for me. And Daryl has this look of derision, like, I know you hate camping. I go, no. I don't just hate camping. It's not the camping.
Yeah.
Because I'll go to a cabin.
Yeah.
And hang out all day outside. And then as long as I can go in and things
You like nature.
I love nature.
Yeah.
I love hiking. I love being on the lake or river or whatever. I won't go in the ocean.
Right.
Those are sharks' homes. But outside of that, I love it. I said, but I can't with the, we've really, this homesteading thing is fine for some people.
Ugh.
But you kind of have to have money first of all, to live off the grid. It helps to be gainfully employed to the point where you can afford to get the tools.
I guess, but I mean, that show alone, they don't. They literally, that's the whole point of the show.
Well, they are given very expensive items to survive.
They can bring 10 things, right?
They can bring 10 things of the highest of quality, but not to mention they're wearing like $1,500 worth of clothes.
Yeah, well, because they have to prepare before they go. But
so that requires money,
That's true.
And like if you're a big game hunter, you don't just make something in your backyard. You have the best of the best.
That's true.
So my point is I just told him, I said, I think we've like evolved beyond the homesteading thing. I just I don't get it. And Daryl's like, I could do it. I'm like, alone? Because I ain't going with you.
I think he thinks he could do it. I don't think he could actually do it.
He watches that show alone and goes, I could not do what they're doing.
That's what I'm saying.
I couldn't.
Jerry does it too. He's like, God, I just can't imagine. He can't deal with the cold.
Oh, okay.
And on the more recent seasons, that's
so
the
freezing.
thing. Like, they take him to the Arctic and shit.
It's freezing.
Yeah. I mean, we watched some of the older episodes, older seasons, and it was a lot different. Easy. And none of it looks easy to me.
No, it's not
but,
easy.
I mean, I couldn't live where it was 20 degrees below zero.
I will say the alone contestants who make these kick-ass cabins.
Yeah.
And they're so organized and clean.
That's the only way to do it.
And all that stuff. And I go, okay.
You couldn't be successful unless...
I could do that. I mean, not literally. No. What I mean is, if I had the skills, that would be me.
Right.
And so I can watch alone because I'm like, okay, I can watch these people who
Plus
are...
they're alone.
Yes.
Nobody else is suffering with themselves.
Well, that is true. But I mean, it's so clean and organized. I'm like, okay, I love this, and I can watch this and not be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But like, there was one woman on this current season, and she's gone already because was kind of dumb in her choices.
Yeah.
She had this horrible shelter with no front door.
Oh, God.
I mean, and she was freezing to death.
Yes.
Literally freezing to death. And they're like, you're going to die. So we have to take you.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't want to leave. I'm like, you're dying. You've killed a rabbit. Get out.
The $1 million episode, the $1 million season.
Yes.
That one girl, she made it all the way to the end.
That season, those women were badass.
They were badass.
I loved every
And the only
single one
reason
of
why they
them.
pulled her is because she was just starving to
She was
death.
starving to death. She couldn't get enough fat.
And I'm like, this is the problem, and with that seems to be to me the main problem on the show.
Yes,
there's
no
the
food
exposure
source.
is bad, but if they built the right shelter, right?
Yeah.
They do okay. But if they can't eat, then they are screwed. There's nothing you can do about that.
It's true. Well, anyway, I still love the show Alone. I could
watch that show you were talking about.
I enjoy the Homestead Rescue because I love the Rainey family. They're so fun to watch, and they're so skilled. They're so skilled, and that part I really love. I love the fact that I don't.
It's interesting to watch,
and it's educational. And I'm like, I would have never thought to do that, and I like that part of it.
Well, it's such a different way of life than we would ever do.
I mean, never. And
and even the way they live, like. I'm talking about Alone, but the way they live before they go.
Oh yeah, they're wild.
They're already like that. Yeah,
they're like, this is just another
they just
Sunday.
have a real house, but
or whatever.
Whatever. Yeah,
I made the cabin I'm living in. It's like, wow, that's interesting, and that's very attractive to some people.
Yeah, not me, but
I
would like it if my husband had those skills, but I'm not living that life.
Oh, and I'm
ever.
No. I don't want some guy showing up and he's like, well, bagged a buck today, and they're like slicing it apart in their front yard.
I'm never going to be happy about eating venison for 3 months.
It's like, well, we got bear for the next winter, and I'm like, oh, well, great.
Never.
I guess I have to prepare this.
How do you?
I don't know what to do.
I prepared raw chicken.
I hunt it. You prepare it. I'm like, you killed it. You hunted a chicken.
You shot a chicken.
It's so true. I prepared raw food. God, it's almost like I've never done this a day of my life. No, you haven't. Yeah, not my life.
Well, the funny thing is, I think the reason why Goldie Hawn was so good in that movie because her daughter has made jokes on like interviews and stuff. She's like, my mom is such a freaking she's just the most high maintenance person.
She will
ever
not rough it ever.
So she literally hires everybody to do everything. So I think that was probably a very natural role for her.
She's like, oh, I can do this.
I'm living in squalor.
Oh my God! Did I just step down? I'm not a bitch.
I'm not going back in the water barrel.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, so speaking of film and entertainment, you finally binge watched the next season of Dr. Death, which is Dr. Dunch, is who he was.
I watched it, remember?
I know, and you and I were trading chats a little bit about it, and you're like, oh my God, this guy.
Well, it was so exciting to me because I didn't know anything about it.
Right, so I would love to hear.
I literally had no idea that this had happened.
I would love your review on the. Now, I have listened to the podcast, so I know.
Seems like many people did.
Yes, so I know the premise of everything, but I'm curious how it converted into a movie.
Yeah, well, it was a series.
Okay,
so
a series.
I believe it was 8 episodes.
So it's just like the podcast.
Yes.
So, do tell.
So I mean,
well, where can you find it? First of all,
it's on Peacock.
Oh, okay.
So it's for me. It was free.
Yes.
But I loved it because I could binge it. I didn't have to stop.
Thank God.
Yes. And so Christian Slater plays one of the doctors. So there's these 2 doctors who are friends who want to out this guy, right? They want to, but it's very difficult when you're a doctor to prove malpractice, to prove deliberate, that you're deliberately doing things to hurt people because you're very well protected.
Yes.
And the laws are not favorable to the patients at all.
No.
So that was their whole goal, was to take this guy down and get him so he could not only not practice medicine ever again, but actually put him in prison, which had never been done before in the state of Texas.
That's right.
A doctor had never actually gone to jail or had criminal charges successfully filed against him for malpractice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You get money out of them, which in Texas they cap it at $250,000.
Oh my God.
So if you're armless and legless and you're in a quadriplegic and you can't breathe, the most you can get out of the doctor who did it to you is $250,000.
That's insane.
It's insane.
Is it still like that?
Yes. This happened in 2014.
No, I know.
So it's kind of recent.
So I'm wondering. Okay, they're not going to change the law.
I mean, it's Texas. I guess
They're
they
not
could.
gonna
And now that this Dr. Death thing is out, everyone's like, the thing about it is basically what this guy did is he was a psychopath and a sociopath.
He was.
He was a neurosurgeon. And which neurosurgeons work on your back and your neck, right? And
your brain, yeah.
And sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
Right, but for the most part, you're doing disc surgeries and neck.
A lot of orthopedic type stuff.
Yes, yeah. Like I've had this bad back forever, and they go and try to fix you. Well, what he was doing was he was going in and destroying people.
Yeah, he was actively harming
Intentionally
them.
destroying people.
Yes.
Doing things, and he was smart enough about it to make it look like it could have happened as like an accident.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just dug too deep, or I just cut too deep.
Yes.
But I mean, he was doing things like giving a guy a very common neck surgery that it happens all the time. It's very common in that world. It's easy. It's an easy surgery.
Yeah.
But he would take the scalpel and cut their esophagus.
Right.
Like all the way down. You never even get near an esophagus normally.
Unless you were literally trying to behead someone.
Which is what he was doing.
Yes, he did.
So he did this to 34 patients. 2 of them died. One of them was his best friend. He made him a quadriplegic.
I think his friend is still alive.
He died.
Oh, he did pass
this
away?
year. February 2021,
you know what?
he died.
I had been keeping track of that guy.
Yeah, his name
because
was
I was so sad by that
Jerry
whole
Summers.
thing.
And he died faithful to the end to this guy.
He did. He really
He
did.
just literally could not accept the fact that he did this to him on purpose.
He had the inner circle so convinced that he was innocent that that guy was blindly faithful to that
horrible
guy.
I mean,
well, how, you know what, I think it was probably a protection for his own brain, because the idea that someone he trusted completely would do this to him
and he volunteered. Like, he's like, I want you to fix my neck, like I want you to do, and the doctor was like, well, a lot of people think that's unethical for me to do surgery on my own friend, like I should refer you to somebody else, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Of course he did. So anyway, so Christian Slater plays one of the doctors that wants to out him. Alec Baldwin plays the other one. So they're amazing together.
I love Alec Baldwin.
And Christian Slater's character is kind of the more, he's a real animated doctor. He's vulgar. He says the F word and stuff. But he's very, very successful, hugely successful, really wealthy. And the other doctor, Alec Baldwin, is quiet. He's very reserved. He's kind of what you're used to seeing with a doctor. Yeah, right? Very smart, also very successful. So between the two of them, they really are a great team, and it's really fun to watch.
Good.
And I am just in love with Christian Slater even more than I was, because I watched him in Betty Broderick, and I loved him in that. This particular thing is much better for him.
Sure.
It really shows his acting skills a lot better.
Oh, good.
Much more well-rounded. So I loved it. And the guy who plays Dr. Dunch,
Josh,
I didn't know who he was.
he was in I Don't Want to Wait. What's that show? Something Creek. With Katie Holmes.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah.
That show, he was on that.
Dawson's Creek.
No,
I never watched it.
God, what is wrong with me?
I don't know. That show was. I was too old when that show came out. Yeah, it was kind of a kid's show.
Yeah, I didn't watch
But
it.
okay, a lot of people were commenting on, because of course I had to Google it to death to find out what the real guy looked like and all of that.
Right. He was I mean, I didn't think he was an attractive man, but I guess in person he might have been. I don't know.
Yeah, the only
cokehead.
picture I could find of him was his prison picture.
Oh, yeah.
And those are never good.
Well,
but, regardless, I didn't
And he did not think he was going to prison. Like, he was so sure he was getting out of all of this.
He was fucked up.
And he borrowed money. God, so much money.
He was literally like everything
He was a total cokehead.
So after, he was a cokehead, he was an alcoholic, all kinds of things. And what I came away with after that I watched it, I was so terrified. I'm like, I can never have surgery again. Like, how could I willingly? I mean, it's just one of those things. You're literally the most vulnerable that you will ever be.
Yeah.
And for him to do what he did to these people, it was like, if they didn't die, then they were living the most tortured life.
It was, and then the doctors that
he cut the vocal cords of this one lady.
I remember.
So she couldn't speak.
Ever again.
I mean, he literally did that to her on purpose, knowing full well what the outcome would be.
It's hard. You know what? It is one of those things where the level of trust that one has to have for a medical professional. You don't realize how delicate that line is until you experience or see or hear or read about something.
Oh my God.
You hear about like those fertility doctors or gynecologists or people. There are so many.
Yeah.
Actually, there aren't that many. That's the thing.
That's true.
But it only takes one.
That's true.
It only takes one. And what I took out of that whole thing, I'm glad the show was good, by the way.
It was so good.
So 5 stars.
Absolutely.
I will probably watch it.
It was done really well. And because I didn't know the guy that was playing the Dr. Dunch, I didn't have an opinion about him one way or the other.
Yeah, so you're just
but he was super convincing. Yeah. Like, he was so believable.
He's actually a good actor.
He was great.
Yeah. So anyway, so it is impossibly difficult when our mom had neurosurgery a few years ago. Actually, has it been 2 or 3 years?
It's been 2, but I was thinking about that too.
I knew about this already back then, so in my mind, I was thinking about that.
One of the women was a 70-year-old woman that he put in a wheelchair.
Yeah. I knew about this case, and I knew all about it. So when it all came up, I was so on their ass.
Oh, my God. See, and I didn't.
And I mean,
I'm so glad I didn't.
I literally went out there, and our mom's husband was like, why are you out here? I'm like, I'm out here. I want to hear. I want to see everything. And I Googled the shit out of her doctors.
See, and now I will always do that.
For hours, Stephanie. Yeah. I looked for everything because I'm like, who is, and they were all, luckily they were flawless.
Yeah.
5-star reviews.
You're right. It is very rare, and thank God it is.
But that movie made me go, you know what? I'm sorry, but we can't just blindly accept.
Well, that was the hardest part for me was that, these nurses and other doctors who would be in the room. They knew what he was doing.
They knew. They're like, he's so ill-equipped.
Well, why? I mean, I think the biggest problem was that they thought he was just bad. Like, he's just a moron. He doesn't know what he's fucking doing.
How did he pass med school? But he was brilliant.
But he was actually brilliant. And that was what was so scary about it, was that he had convinced people that he was just an idiot versus he's doing this on purpose.
No.
Nobody could accept the fact that he would possibly be doing this on purpose.
Yes. Oh, and the hospital shuffling him around. I mean,
they just didn't want to have anything to do with him.
They're fucking immoral. It was so goddamn immoral.
Yeah.
And we were just talking last week about how planes should be grounded versus letting them crash because it's cheaper. Same thing.
Absolutely.
Same thing. Hospitals were like, we'll just pay the hundreds of thousands
get rid of
him. And then he was smart enough to open up his own practice, and then ultimately wanted his own surgery. I mean, he's a fucking serial killer.
He was.
He was crazy.
Absolutely
crazy evil.
And he wasn't even, that was what was so awful to me, was like his ultimate goal was not always death. And I think sometimes it was incidental, like, oh, well, they accidentally died and that wasn't my plan. Yeah, his ultimate goal was to torment or torture
people. To
have people suffer crippling, suffering lives. That's what he wanted.
Yes.
If they died, that was just, oh, well,
it's like, crap, I went too far.
It's kind of like, it was like these serial killers who kidnap women and then torture them and do things with them. If they accidentally die, they're like, ah, shit. And then the next time they try it, because it's the prolonged suffering that they get off on.
Yes. And as a doctor, it was diabolical, and he's still in prison, thank God.
Yeah, he got life.
Good, and he should.
Yeah.
He should.
He got life. And I was really pleased with the way that the prosecutor decided to go for him, because she knew it would be almost impossible to get him for murder or whatever. Mm-hmm. So she went with elder abuse.
I do remember that.
Yeah, and that was the way she's like, it gives the judge the most latitude, and it's the longest sentence is life.
That's right.
And so after they heard the case, everybody was like, God, this guy can never be out of prison.
He can't help any person ever again.
He's never helped one person. Yeah.
Thank God. Okay,
crazy.
Cool. Well, so Dr. Death on Peacock.
Definitely watch it.
If you can't afford Peacock or you can't watch it, you can absolutely download the podcast. It's Dr. Death.
I want to listen to the podcast too, because it probably has a different spin. Yeah.
It's very well, and they also do interviews with the actual victims.
Oh God.
So, yeah. It's pretty it's horrific.
From what I've heard,
it's horrific.
What I read, the podcast and the show are almost identical.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it. So, I probably will check it out at some point.
Yeah.
All right, so I put this on here because big boob problems. If you don't have big boobs, it's fine, but just listen anyway. So
feel sorry for us.
The other day, well, it's like no woman is satisfied. It's like they're either too small, too big. Unless you have fake ones put in, and it's just right.
And now that's a thing. It's called breast implant illness.
What is? Oh, yeah.
It's a big thing.
Yeah, I know a couple people who've had their breasts removed.
Yes. And now it's like a movement now, and it's all over the internet. And I'm like, Jesus, I've always wanted them, but now I'm like, ugh.
The only reason I would ever have implants is if I had breast cancer.
I want to lift.
Oh, by the way, I got my mammogram.
God, you scared me.
I'm sorry.
Because you said breast cancer, then you got animated. I'm like, what?
No, I'm clear. I'm totally clear.
I figured. Actually, you're not balled up in a corner sobbing, so.
You would have known the day it happened. Actually, this is what happened is I had my mammogram, and I was really relieved, so I decided I was going to TJ Maxx. I hadn't been to TJ Maxx in well over a year.
Me too.
So I went to TJ Maxx. They don't have a whole lot. Because there's not a lot of product right now.
I know,
they're stuck
so
everywhere.
Hard to get. Yeah.
And there's just a lot of reasons why there's not a ton of product. But there was enough for me to peruse.
Yeah.
And because I hadn't been there in over a year, I'm like, there's gonna be a lot of shit that I haven't seen.
Right.
Because when you go to TJ Maxx, you'll see the same vase for 6 months.
I know, right?
Even on clearance.
The same ugly jeans that you've been looking at and the same sizes you can't
get some
wear.
new stuff. Right. So anyway, everything's kind of new to me. And I would laugh because I'd go into the houseware section going, I can't believe these are still here. Like, this has been 2 years almost. Like, this is still here, you know?
Do they replace it? Somebody buys it and they get the same one?
I know. So I spent, probably 2 hours because I was
you're like mother.
No, I was by myself. I hadn't been, and I was kind of like, and it's kind of an escape for me.
Oh, me too.
Where I don't have to talk to anyone. The problem was it was fucking crowded. And that's the worst.
And then I get annoyed,
And I was irritated, and nobody knows personal space.
Why is everyone an idiot?
God! So annoying. They're like, oh, Jam, did you see this blouse? Come over here. And then there's another woman on the phone talking. We're like, no, it's 5 minutes away from my house. 5 minutes away. 5 minutes. Yes.
I get mad at people
down the street. And I'm like, God, just text this bitch. What are you doing? If you want her to come and visit.
I get mad at people who are shopping in my size. I'm like, move. I want to look right there.
I know.
Like, you are already get out of my way. What? You're not going to fit anything in here.
It's true.
It's like they have no right to shop where I want to look.
Did they not notify you at the door that I'm here today?
And then I think that to myself. I'm like, who do you think you are, Stephanie? It's like,
I know.
You move on.
Well, actually, what's funny is that because we have that entitled attitude when we walk into a discount store, people think we work there. It happens all the time.
Not to me.
Oh,
I'm like,
me.
I look at him like, please.
Don't even look at me. But anyway.
Oh, God. Yeah, Jerry's like, you have that look like you're
don't talk to me.
Straight up scary. I'm like,
I have that look with men, not with women necessarily.
Yeah,
they will approach me. Men do not approach me. But anyway, so I'm at TJ Maxx and I'm perusing through. You see that green floral over there?
Yes.
Okay, I know it looks hideous from that pile.
It doesn't.
Those are all clothes I need to hang up, right?
It doesn't look hideous. It's just green.
Okay, so there's some pleather leggings over there.
Oh, wow.
I bought pleather leggings to go with it. They were only $10. I had to get them.
Wow.
But they look so good.
You should see the ones I got. I got
so
the Spanx brand.
Oh, nice.
They were like $100.
Oh, shit. So
that's not a lot. You know it. You have things that are way more expensive.
I have not paid $100 for leggings ever.
Well, I figured if I was going to get some because they're tight, right?
Yeah.
I might as well get the best to make my body look the best possible way I can.
Okay, so that floral
I've never
shirt,
worn them. They still have the tags on it. I've had them for a year.
That floral shirt is a wraparound, and it's a large, and it's so cute. And it was on clearance. It was like $12.
Oh my God, love.
From like $40. I'm like, oh, cool. So I bought it. I'm like, this is going to look so good with these pleather leggings, and I'll wear it this fall or winter, and I'll look so awesome. So I came home, tried everything on, everything fits.
Didn't hate anything, right?
I couldn't believe it. I loved everything. Oh, and they had Morphe brushes on clearance, which is like crazy cheap.
What is it?
Morphe is a makeup store, and their brushes are really good.
Oh.
And these were like $2 a piece. Oh my God. $30 brushes. So I'm like buying all the Morphe brushes.
Hell yeah.
So anyway, I go to put this shirt on, and it does not go around my boobs. Like, it fits everywhere but the boobs. And there's a snap, which is an absolute joke.
It's like, if I snap this, it is going to boing across the room.
I couldn't even, no, it was a joke. And I'm like, you know what, God damn it, the only way I could wear this if I had literally no breasts.
Yeah.
This is not a large. This is not a large.
I know.
I checked the tag going, did I buy a small on accident? Because I have very small shoulders.
Same. We've talked about this.
I can wear, I can wear a medium. I'm wearing mediums mostly. If
but your boobs. Yeah. Same.
It's horrible. So I was really disappointed. So now I can't wear it. And I'm like, I can't take
I
it
wear
back.
the same size and literally everything. Like I know my size.
Yeah.
But depending on the line, the brand, it's like, I'm like, I guess they thought that, if you're an 11 or 12, that you're flat. I'm like, because it fits perfectly everywhere else, but I cannot, the buttons that go down the front, they're like ready to burst.
I have had...
I'm like, are you kidding?
I have so many dresses that I cannot fit in the boob area, and I'm like, what is the point of this?
And they're so cute.
And the thing is, it's like, I don't really know... Am I supposed to buy a size 16?
Well, that's the thing. I've done that. I've upsized and
then
been like, and then it's huge.
Then you look like you're wearing a
tent. And I've worn things over here for you. Like, that shirt's too big for you. I'm like, I know, but it was the only thing I could get across my chest.
Yes, and so then of course
it's like flopping around everywhere.
And then
but if it's my boobs.
I know, and I don't want to hear it again. You need a good tailor. That's all you need is just a good tailor.
Yeah, I guess.
And I'm like, yeah, I get it, but who has the time?
I know.
I buy stuff to wear.
I might do that, though, because I have like 3 Banana Republic dresses that I got, and they were on clearance. These were like $150 dresses.
They're not cheap.
But I got them for like $60 or $50 or whatever. And they're adorable, but they don't fit in my boobs. And they still have the tags on, and they're hanging in my closet, and I'm looking at them all the time. I'm like, I wonder if I'll fit it now. So well, because you think trying it on.
It's not about losing weight.
I know.
And that's the thing about having a large chest is that if you buy something and it doesn't fit, you immediately feel like you're a fat cow.
I do.
You're like, okay, great. And my biggest
very
struggle...
deflating.
Stephanie, my biggest struggle is leather jackets. I want a leather jacket so bad. And I'll even take a vegan leather jacket. I'm cool with it. Like, I don't need to have cow's skin. But Daryl bought me the most beautiful moto jacket for Christmas last year.
Can you wear it?
No.
I thought
doesn't
you
fucking
could.
fit. Nope, doesn't fit. Oh. And it is so depressing. And I'm just
because you love it and you want to wear it so bad.
And I would look like I was wearing a child's clothes. It wouldn't even look like a real outfit. They'd be like, why did you pretend that this would fit you? It doesn't. So I started Googling leather jackets, moto jackets for big boobed girls.
Do they sell them?
No. They're like, you just have to find something that will fit you guys. Sorry.
And I'm like, these things on like Facebook where, you know, your algorithm.
Yes.
I can say it now.
Now you can say it.
Algorithm.
Yes.
And they, you know, because of whatever I've been searching for, obviously, things with big boobs, you know, like bras and, you know.
I'm constantly Googling something for big boobs. And and then I'm like, no, that's not what I meant.
And then then you get all these plus size sites that come up on your feed and stuff. Yes. And I'm like, you know what? It's not, I don't really give a shit. Like, if I buy something on a plus size.
I don't either.
If it fits my chest, I'm happy. But you go and then you look at it and they're all sold out of those, or they don't even make that size.
Because everybody knows the secret but us.
I'm like, this is absurd.
One time, I remember I was looking for something. It was like a bathing suit top or whatever. And I remember this was a long time ago, but there was a time when you could finally mix and match suits and tops.
Yeah, I think
because forever
you had to buy
the set, and nobody's like, I don't have the ass this big, but I have huge tits. You know, so now you can mix and match. Anyway, I remember doing that, going, we have strippers now. We have women who have incredibly large round breasts and teeny tiny waists.
Right.
Why do we not have shirts and jackets to fit these women?
I don't get it.
What are they doing? Like, I know that, and I see these women, they make a ton of money. If they're in LA or Vegas or in these big cities, these gorgeous, huge boobs, tiny bodies.
God, maybe we should do it. But
what clothes are they wearing? I can't tell you, Stephanie.
They do have tailors.
I have freaking Googled strippers and looked at, like, where did you buy that? Like, I need to know how do you get it? Because I am not huge everywhere.
No,
just
we're not
up there.
Yeah,
you know, and they're big. And then I read something. I'm like, I really want a tube top, a nice one,
cute, a
nice one for these big flowy pants. And although these are not, you know what, I've decided I don't like these.
Are they new?
These are kind of new. These are part of the TJ Maxx purchase, and they're like linen, and they're supposed to be really cute. Flowy. Yeah, they're really cute. Except the more I look at them, the more they look like World War II prisoner pants.
They kind of do. It's the color scheme.
And now I'm like, I can't wear these. These look like.
You feel like you're being led around in chains?
I just can't. Now I'm like, all I think of is I just think, oh God, these are people are going to go, I remember that movie, The Boy in the Pajamas, the Boy in the Striped Pajamas movie. That's what those look like. And I'm like, oh shit. Plus, they're not as heavy as I wanted. Anyway, so I wanted this black.
Well, they're good for wearing around the house if you don't want to wear them out.
And I could wear them to the store and nobody would go. I'm the only one that go, you look like you came from World War II. You know,
I told you about the two. I bought these two dresses on QVC that I thought they would be comfortable and cute. And Allison's like, so I got them and everything. Jerry, you know, it's very rare that our husbands actually I don't know about yours, have opinions about things that I buy to wear.
Sometimes he does.
Yeah. Occasionally. If it's something cute, they'll be like, oh, that looks good on you.
When I showed him the pleather leggings, he's like, wow, really? Okay.
So
I'm like, it'll work, don't worry.
Yeah, so I went through this phase where I bought all this shit on QVC. I'm like, you know what? This show's for fat girls. That's what it's for. That's why all these women buy this stuff online or on TV or whatever. I'm like, I'm one of those people. So I ordered all this shit, and a lot of the people on the comment section were like, yeah, you know, I bought this for a cruise. It was perfect. It was super comfortable. Yeah, it looked really cute. It was bright. You know, it covered in all the right places. I could wear my bathing suit under it. I'm like, yeah, I kind of need something like that for summer when I'm like pilling around the house or I'm going to go to the grocery store or whatever. Sure. So I bought them, and Jerry arrived. They were hanging in my closet, and Jerry's like, wow, are you really going to wear those? And I'm like, what? I thought they were cute. He's like, okay. You know.
Well, did you put one on?
No, I hadn't. They were new. Like, I literally just got them. So then Allison came over, like, that day or the next day or something, and I'm like, look at all the stuff I bought on QVC. I'm so happy and everything. I go, Jerry said these two dresses are ugly. He said they were, like, hideous. She goes, well, I can understand why he would say that. I was like, oh,
what do they look like? What are they,
tents with sleeves?
Oh, they were like okay, I know.
So they're literally like, yeah.
Okay.
And it's really a heavy cotton, but they have 2 pockets, which I love.
Everybody loves caftans.
And then it's got an embroidered, like, a palm tree on one, and then a hibiscus flower on the other one.
Okay.
And it's got a zipper. It zips up right here.
Do you wear them?
At home.
Okay, good.
I've never
That's
left the
fine.
house with them after those 2 statements.
You probably shouldn't.
Jamie, if you saw me, you'd be all... I'd put my hand over my mouth. She'd be like, well, wow.
Like, wow, Stephanie, those are
I think
nice.
I was feeling really bad about myself
That's
at that time.
Yeah, I've done that. One time I told you about the great dress I bought.
It's like, let me buy the ugliest thing I can find.
I don't know why I
to
bought
go with
it.
my mind.
I do shit like that.
Yeah.
And it's just horrible. Anyway.
I did it.
So the other thing about clothes is, thrifting is becoming really cool again.
Totally.
And
if you're a size 2, it's perfect.
Malia and I went to a thrift store about a month ago. We went and we were wandering around, and she likes Crossroads and like the more trendy, cool thrift stores. But sometimes you can find some cool shit at like just Goodwill or Salvation Army. So I went and we were poking around, and there's nothing, and it's really gross.
Yeah, I'm just
because all the people who know how to thrift have taken everything.
Yeah,
like you really have to
know what day to go,
yes,
and they know what time to go.
Everything. And so I'm like, all right, let's get out of here. And it's the same thing where I'm like, Mom used to take us thrifting, and she would give us like baby wipes when we would leave because everything was so gross. So I didn't have baby wipes, and I said, Malia, when we get home, I'm not kidding. I mean, immediately to the sink.
And don't touch anything.
And touch
don't
nothing.
Touch your face.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay. And so we went, and of course I had grime, wash completely, and I didn't even touch that many stuff. So anyway, I was just curious. I'm like, where are all these great clothes that people are buying at Goodwill?
And you have to go like every freaking day, practically.
I don't want to do that. And so
I don't either. I don't have the effort. Yeah.
Goodwill has an online store.
Oh.
So I went to Goodwill.com, and I'm starting to look, and you can shop all the Goodwills all over the country.
Wow, that's awesome.
And so there is a Goodwill.
Do they ship for free?
I don't know, but there is a Goodwill in Southern California.
Oh, I bet it's great.
They have fur coats, full-length furs. Real furs for like $30.
Shut up.
Because no
one wears fur anymore.
I love fur.
I do too.
And they're rabbit.
And if it's already made and it's already dead,
and it's
then
vintage.
It's just going to waste.
And they're vintage.
So
and
they were killed for nothing.
Yeah, then what are you going to do? Honor them. Wear them. Celebrate it. They
did not die in vain.
They have leather. They have...
I mean, I don't think I'm not going to go out and have a fur cape made now.
No,
yes.
I would never.
Right? But I mean, if it's vintage...
Yeah.
Back in the day, we didn't know.
And they're so well made. They don't make them like that anymore.
Kim Kardashian still wears fur.
Fuck, I would wear fur.
She does.
If I could get away with it, I would wear it.
She does, yeah.
I don't have a problem. You know what? I know it's a problem ethically. People are like, I would never. I'm like, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I happen to love it. And it's one of the immoral things about me.
Well, and I think for me, it's like I think we're all educated now. We all know now, so it's not. It's not like they're doing it like they were now.
No,
like I said, I'm not going to walk into Saks Fifth Avenue and buy a brand new mink
No,
coat.
I wouldn't either.
No,
and I don't even think they sell them anymore.
They probably don't.
I think. Well, first of all, I believe they're illegal. At least in California.
Yeah.
Anyway, my point is,
and they should be. But if it's 30 years old and was made back when we didn't do things like that,
and it's a classic, and
it's
so
like,
I'm like, this is a stunning fur, and I can't believe it's only 30. I did not buy it. I wish I had, but I didn't.
What color was it?
Brown.
Ugh.
And so I'm like, you know what? But
then
now
it's probably a thing. Like, if you do buy it, where can you wear it? Someone's gonna throw red paint on you and be like, murder!
Wouldn't that be a hilarious story, though? Be a great story.
Murder!
You know what? I would do it just for the story.
That girl who did it on that show on Sex and the City, that one episode, she was amazing. She had the right. She's like, murder! I mean, she had like the perfect voice and face. I could have played that part.
Yeah, you could have.
Like, I was the girl that played the PETA girl on Sex and the City.
Oh my God, so funny.
Samantha's like,
she's like, I love New York. She was living in LA. But yes, so I was like, oh my God. So now I haven't gone back, but I'm definitely going to go back and start looking.
You can buy it and let it be your bathrobe.
That's a good
That way
idea.
nobody would ever know, but you could wear it around the
I'll
house.
just walk around my house like Charlotte in my fur.
Well, couldn't you
like,
lie?
This is my house. I can do whatever I want.
Right. It's my ring. Like, seriously, though, couldn't you just lie and say it was fake? Be like, oh, it's not real.
Yeah, I could. And if you knew the difference, I'd be like, how do you know?
Right.
Somebody was saying that they don't even like fake fur because of what it represents. I'm like, fuck you,
Shut
man.
up. That's like Mom used to telling us, I don't want you saying fudge. It's the same as saying the real word.
I know
what you meant.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't live by that philosophy, by the way.
Well, I don't either now.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. It's like, oh, you can't wear fake fur because it's like, it looks like the real thing and we don't endorse that.
Mom, we said funk. We did not say the F word. Oh, my God. Anyway, all right. Well, I have some Ugly and Awkward Moments for you. This has actually happened to me before, and I don't know if I'm sure you've heard about it, but anyway, here's the first one. So my husband, daughter, and I went to the grocery store, and sometimes we split up to grab things we want. My daughter and I went one way, grabbed snacks and her favorite macaroni and cheese. She walked up to a cart and threw her things in, and I followed suit. I looked in the cart and noticed a bunch of healthy dishes and salads, not really the norm of what my husband would buy. So I proceed to say in my sexy voice, "Ooh, what are you making tonight, baby?" And a man goes, "I think you have the wrong cart, ma'am." And I look up.
Oh my God.
I look up and I see it is definitely not my husband. So I immediately turn beet red, apologize, grab my items, and run with my daughter. I finally find my husband in a different aisle and proceed to avoid the man as much as I could. That happened to me at Trader Joe's.
Oh, yeah, you told me about that. Yeah, we talked about it on the show. You went up to some random guy. You thought it was Daryl, right?
I almost did it to an old lady the other day. I turned around and Daryl looks at me. He's like, "Why? And I'm like, "Because I'm just busily grabbing things and tossing them in. And if you're in charge of the basket, I expect you're right behind me because you usually are." And I just kind of
right.
But he wasn't. He had grabbed anyway. So yes, that
Why
happens.
do they need to be in charge of the basket? It's like for Jerry, it's like it's like a security thing.
I give him the role.
He's fine with. I'm fine with him having the basket.
Although we have had massive issues, like to the point one time I walked out of the store because I was so angry at him that we were going through the store, and I have a habit of putting my purse in the front little part, and then I walk around and he holds the basket. Well, Daryl has a really bad habit of wandering off and
with your purse in the basket
and leaving the purse unattended.
Right,
and it's happened many times, and like not just a couple of feet away, but like
he's not around.
I'm just gonna really quick grab this down here at this aisle, or I'm gonna, like too far away. I would never do that to a child, and I don't do it to a purse.
Right, same.
And so it's like, how hard is it? How hard is it really?
No, I know.
So it's happened, and I said, you know what, God damn it? I go, if you're going to offer the purse, if you're going to offer it and you're going to take the basket, you have to stay with the basket.
Yes.
I know. And I'm like, no.
No, you don't.
You don't know, because we are having this argument in the grocery store in front of the elderly, and I'm angry about it. And he's like, fine.
And I'm to the point now to where I don't really give a shit who hears.
I was so angry, and so then he did it again. So I picked
up the same trip.
Yeah. So I picked up my purse. Did
he do it on purpose?
No, he didn't. He just didn't think it was that big of a deal. I picked up my purse and I said, "I'm going to the car." And I said, "Give me the keys." And he's like, "Why are you doing this?" I'm like, "Don't talk to me like that. Give me the keys." So I just sat in there and I just did Pokemon until he came out, and he's all acting cool, chewing his gum, like, you know.
Did he buy the groceries?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, he didn't just like walk out too, did he?
Oh, no.
That would be my husband. He was like, "Oh, I guess we're leaving."
Honestly, he
I didn't know what to get.
Honestly, he probably would have if he thought that it was very serious. The thing for him is he was probably terrified to come to the car.
He's like, "Oh shit, how long can I stay in here?
Now I've got to go and deal with this monster in the vehicle.
I have to be alone in the car.
Who's going to be yelling at me for leaving her purse." Great. So yeah, it happens.
It's a real thing, though.
And so for a really long time, I would aggressively just grab my purse when we would walk in. He's like,
"You can't be trusted."
I told him that. And he goes, "You can put it in the basket." I'm like, "I can't actually." And he's like, and so for like a month, every grocery store visit was high stress.
He had to be punished, Jamie.
I know.
Because he was just not going to learn.
It's true.
And has he learned?
He has. He has. And in fact, there were times where I'd be like, "All right, fine," and I'll put it in there, and then he would kind of meander. I'm like, "Nope," and I'd grab the purse, and he's
still
just
can't
like,
be trusted.
"Nope." I go, "Clearly, we have not learned," and he's like, "Ah," and he gets really angry.
Well, you just don't take me seriously. Do you not understand? Don't walk away from the purse.
If you want the basket,
like a quarter of a foot is acceptable, and that's it.
It's like, if you want basket responsibility, you have to be responsible.
I literally put my hand, or like, if I have to reach too far.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's a thing, like, we know
that kids.
And no, I mean, like, purse snatchings and, like, people reaching, it's like a thing.
And they'll do it and you won't even know.
Exactly. And I refuse to be one of those people.
I even zip up my purse when I go to the store.
I usually do.
If they can go beep, beep, and take my wallet or something, or my phone or whatever.
Well, the problem with me is that because I'm decrepit and ancient now, sometimes I have to take my sunglasses off, put my other glasses on so I can see.
I do the same thing.
Or take my phone out to look on my app for something that I put on there, you know.
Same.
So it's like I'm still getting in and out of my purse like while I'm
Constantly.
shopping.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So if I zip it up, it just becomes difficult to access what I need.
Okay, here's the second one. This would not happen to a woman. I just can tell you right now, this is a guy thing.
Okay.
But he completely got what he deserved, so. I'm not a weed Nazi, but this dude I work with is such a damn slacker. I was sure he'd been smoking weed in the office bathroom. He came out of the bathroom with that hazy-eyed, lost look, and I thought, this is my chance to confirm my suspicions. So I walked into the bathroom and take the most confident nasal inhale of my life.
You idiot.
In no way, shape, or form was I prepared for the wretched, inhumane scent of rotten shit. It touched my soul. In that moment, while I instantly gagged, I was overcome with disgust and shame for my lack of foresight. I never even considered that he might actually be taking a dump in there.
You idiot.
I fucked up and I deserved every fume I got.
You did.
Why would you go in there and smell a bathroom? I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't even do that in my own bathroom. Ever.
I mean, when Jerry goes to the bathroom, if I'm awake, if I'm coherent and around, and he shuts the door, because we have had this argument before. I'm like, shut the fucking door. Like, and so now he shuts it, but I think it's a combination of, like, oh crap, she's seeing me shut the door, so she knows what I was doing in there.
Oh yeah.
Right? So.
Well, he'll shit with the door open?
Oh, no. I'm saying when he's leaving, when he's exiting the bathroom.
Oh, to leave it.
Post the shit.
The fumes have to stay in there.
Right, because they'll
It'll
waft through the house. Yeah.
Yeah, it's happened.
I think in an effort to prove, like, no, I really wasn't shitting, he'll shut it, but it'll shut it to where it's against the door, but it's like he doesn't do the click, where it's like all the way shut. And then if I walk by and I smell anything at all, I get furious.
You're like, Jay!
I'm like, when I say shut the door, I mean shut it! All the way! And do you not, we have windows in our bathrooms. Full-blown windows.
Why don't you get some Lysol?
Because as Jerry puts it, then it'll just smell like shit and cotton breeze.
Lysol is an odor
It
killer.
is. I do have Lysol, by the way.
Or light a match.
I have everything. I have
light
everything.
a candle. I don't know.
Yeah, he says he doesn't like the smell of, like, rose blooms and shit at the same time.
Just light a match and let it go out. The sulfur will kill it.
I'm with you. I'm very creative.
And
when
what
it
is
comes
he
to that.
eating that it's just so disgusting?
I don't know. I don't want to find out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's really that disgusting. I've never entered to test the waters.
You know what? One time,
like
Daryl,
our friend that we were just listening to.
Yes. One time, Daryl, he had gas or something, and we were in the car, and he went to put gas in the car, and when he came back in, it followed him.
You told me about this.
And I'm like, really, dude? He's like, what? He goes, I didn't think it would follow me. And I'm like,
That's why you stand outside for a few moments.
Like, just take your time. Like, you know.
Like, let the gas pump and stand there.
Like, I don't.
These are issues that we don't have. Yeah.
No. I mean, maybe we do. Although, there are some when we're like,
I am brilliant about hiding things.
Why are you so worked up about it? How can you have an open marriage if you don't talk about poop
Wrong.
and pee? I'm like,
I mean, you talk about it if it's necessary, like someone's having a medical issue. Okay? But the daily does not need to be discussed.
Listen, man, I like to keep it sexy because at some point I want to have sex with it. And I don't want to think about his poop.
That's what I tell him. I'm like, do you want me to find you attractive? Because it's just, I don't understand why you do some of these things.
I know that we all do it, but do we have to make it a topic where I have to be aware of it regularly?
Right? I was literally reading this thread on a Nextdoor app the other day. Someone posted that his wife was mad at him because he'd been passing gas openly. And he's like, I've always done it. And all of a sudden she's like offended by it. And all these people were chiming in, women too, which I don't get. And they're like, oh, that's absurd. It's a natural body habit, and we all do it, and, there's no reason to be ashamed. And I'm like, you are a fucking idiot.
You are a liar.
And you're disgusting. And your husband probably thinks you're disgusting.
So you guys are sitting there watching Jeopardy, and your husband's just letting him fly, and you're like, oh, it's just normal.
Yeah.
Lie.
Fuck. I was just like,
that's a fucking lie.
I will never be that girl.
If Daryl had done that when we were dating, I wouldn't be married to him right now.
Seriously.
Like, legit, would not be married.
It reminds me of that time you set me up on a blind date.
Oh, sorry.
And to this day, I never wanted to see that guy ever. Okay?
It was so bad.
So he was hurt. I just have to briefly tell it because they won't know what we're talking about.
You have to.
This guy was, Jamie was dating a guy very seriously. They were engaged or whatever, and his good friend was single, and I was single, and I was actually going through a breakup, so I was miserable.
You were.
And Jamie was trying to get me out of my funk. So she set me up with this guy that she thought was kind of great.
Yeah, I thought he was funny.
He was really funny, and he was not ugly.
No, he was cute.
Yeah, he was a little bit older than me, so he was actually kind of perfect for me. And he had a broken leg or something.
Broken ankle, and because he had done something stupid.
Yeah, and so he was in a cast.
Yes.
But it was fine. The date was fun, and we went together. It was a double date, and we went to take him home because your boyfriend was driving, and we were in your car. And I walked him to the door because he was the gimp, you know?
Yes.
I mean, under normal circumstances, I wouldn't have.
No.
But because he was gimp, I did. And so... As we're walking up the door, now, granted, he probably had to use more effort to walk because he was on crutches.
Right.
So he maybe had to use, like, a little more muscle than he would have to ascend to the door. But he let out the longest, loudest fart ever.
Unbelievable.
And it wouldn't stop. It was like... the whole way.
The whole walkway.
I mean, I didn't even know, because you know how we are. I mean, Jamie and I are particularly offended by bodily noises.
Yes.
To the point where people think we're weird.
Yeah.
So have somebody do it so blatantly and end on a date.
And he's all, oops, sorry, oops.
He was like laughing and stuff, and I was like mortified.
Like, this is absolutely unacceptable.
I just couldn't believe it.
Like,
it was so shocking.
If I had a penis, it would be rescinded into my
yes,
body
exactly.
at this point.
There was no good night kiss.
It was not happening.
And I never wanted to see him again.
You know what's worse is you had to walk back.
I did. It was horrible. Did I tell you guys about it when I got
You
the car?
were furious. You were so angry. You're like,
I'm gonna gag.
You're like, I will never. Don't you ever set me up on another date again. If this is what you think is a good date. You were. And I'm like, wait, what?
I think even Alan was embarrassed.
He was like, I can't believe it. I'm like, oh, I can. He's disgusting. And you're like, well, he was disgusting. Why did you fix it? I thought he'd be a gentleman. I didn't know.
Well, I mean, he thought he'd be better at hiding it.
It was quite a discussion.
It was funny. It's funny now, but
It is funny, but yeah.
So now he's my Facebook friend, which is weird. He he friended me.
You know, he friended me too because he pulled some shit on me after Alan.
You guys broke
we
up.
broke up, and to the point where my ex-boyfriend actually went to his house to beat him up. And then
he's like, leave her alone.
He's like, are you fucking kidding? I thought you were my friend, you know. And so
oh, did he try to hit on you?
Hardcore.
Ah!
And I called, I said, keep your disgusting friends away from me. And so
he's like, what? She was single now.
It was like 20 years later,
Yeah.
and he messaged me and apologized. He goes, he remembered that to like it had just happened, and he's like, I just want to tell you, I'm so sorry. It was so unacceptable, and I apologize. And I'm like,
that was nice.
And I'm like, forgiven.
Yeah,
forgiven.
Right,
I mean,
totally.
Obviously.
We were 20 or 21. We were so
20,
young.
I was literally 21 when it happened. So anyway, I'm like, God, can you imagine living with something that? Well, yes, I can actually.
Right.
But not to the point where I would apologize to anybody.
Well, I mean, you know, we think about things. Look at us. We hold on to things we did 30 years ago, and we remember them constantly.
Like a scar that will not fade. Anyway,
but he doesn't remember the fart date, does he?
I have a feeling he does.
I wonder if he does.
I don't know.
He didn't apologize to me.
He owes you one.
You owe me.
You owe me an apology.
That was horrible.
That was the worst first date of my life. Yeah.
I think that's the only time that anybody ever set me up, to be honest.
And you're like, no, don't even
I'm
bother.
like, this is why people don't do this.
No. Horrible. God.
Anyway, that was funny.
All right. Well, that's all the show I have. Do you have anything to say? Okay.
I've said enough.
Before we leave, I have completely converted to Lumi. 100%.
Oh, you have?
Yes, I've completely
See, because you
changed
never brought it
over.
up again, I thought maybe you tried it and were not a fan.
No, I finished up the old deodorant I had.
Yeah,
and then I'm like, okay, it's time to go. And it is legit.
Best.
Works so good.
I
no
love it.
odor, no nothing. Love it.
I love it. Yeah.
No, nothing. Like,
it's
nothing.
really, and you get a lot, you know, it's a big.
You do not need a lot.
Yeah, you don't need a lot. And the serving size, I don't know what else to say it, is like good. It's not like, you know, sometimes when I buy deodorant, even if it's like $5-6 for one, it's like teeny.
Yeah,
you know?
no, this
it's
is
like 2 weeks and it's gone.
Well, and if you get it, because it comes in a different variety of ways.
Yeah.
But when you get it like this, when you get like a normal,
like a solid,
whatever, it comes out, and it's just basically the liquid in a easy to use.
Oh, so is it the little dots and you twist and they come out? Okay.
Yes. And
see, I haven't had that one.
So you twist every time, and it's just a little devil do ya.
Yeah, it's true.
And I've used too much on accident, and I'm like, no, way too much. But what's cool is now they have body wash.
Oh, love.
So I'm going to try it.
I bought the soap, didn't I?
Yes, and I have some soap too. I need to try it.
Yeah.
So
because I've heard the soap is amazing.
So uglytruth.com/Lumi. Check it out.
It is just as great as they say it is.
Not a
We
joke.
are not getting anything out of this, by the way.
We get like 15%.
Oh, we do?
Well, yeah, it's how we make
Oh,
it.
okay. Well, I didn't even know.
No, but,
yeah.
but we don't. We're not getting paid to be an endorser.
No, not at all.
But you support the show when you go through that link, and we appreciate it if you do. I know many of you are, and we thank you so much.
But we truly believe, what my point was, the product is amazing, and I'm not just saying that. Yeah.
Ugg approved, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.